Hello, welcome to my Sundowns fan vlog, everybody. This is going to be a follow-up discussion of the lit content that we created about Pizza 2024. We have the same guests. We have to have the same guests. Obviously, it's the regular. We have Kansani there, and then Toto. Player ratings merchants, and then we have Koketo. Sharp, man. Pro, how are you, my man?
Yeah, baba. Sapila kunjani baba?
Itaxisa pro dikisipheteki ukuthi bethabela kwanza.
Yeah, check in, pro. So yeah, man. Well, while we were having a discussion last week about Pizza 2024, and we tapped into transfers a bit, and everybody was giving suggestions of who they think we should go for. As usual, as fans, we were having that conversation, and when Kogeto mentioned Kemet Erasmus, and we were mentioning the likes of Karma and the Obri Mudibas, I said maybe it's time that Sundowns looks to change that transfer policy a bit. And I remember this whole thing started when, how I started thinking maybe Sundowns should change that transfer policy a bit was when was in January when people were asking for 22 and 15 million from Sundowns to sign players. And I was like, man, no, this cannot be like this, man, because you've never heard such numbers being swung around in South African football. Last year, July, was when the media was going big on data analysis in recruitment of football. And when I was studying how Liverpool does, Liverpool is the best example, as we were saying in the previous content. They're the best in the business in doing it. And yeah, and how it works is that they use metrics and whatever, and numbers and stats to see what player suits best in their system. Obviously, every team, like Sundowns, has top analysts. Every team has top analysts, but they're specifically Liverpool has a department for specifically in recruitment of getting recruitment in players in that, and they're leading they're the leaders in the game in that. So I thought maybe that could be the how Sundowns start to approach their transfers now. So yeah, as I was looking into that, and I was looking at how Liverpool's transfers have been amazing. I mean, they before Van Dijk and Salah and I think Alisson Becker, they had never signed a player for more than 40 million pounds. And Keita, I think Naby Keita, and 40 million pounds in this modern day era is
peanuts.
It's peanuts for an elite player.
You get an average player for 40 million pounds now.
True. You get us. So let's start with Kent. Kent, how do you think Sundowns can make that happen and improve? I don't know if improve is the appropriate way, but get better deals in the transfer market.
Well, if you look at, or maybe like if you listen to what Coach Pizzo always says, like in terms of there are certain players that you can tell that this player because Coach Pizzo will always say, when I sign a player for a system. It showed when he signed Leonardo Castro. He was an unknown. First time I saw Leonardo, I think his debut was against Bloemfontein Celtics away. And I just thought, this guy, like, is... I wasn't used to, like, a number 9, like a big number 9, to be moving around the way Leonardo Castro is moving around. But as the CBD started to mold, I could see, oh, okay, now I understand this guy and I understand the system that the technical team is trying to build. So... I'm not sure if we are there yet in terms of like using data analysis and like all these metrics to see will this player suit our style, because maybe let's first start here, guys. Maybe let's go this round table or whatever we want to call it. What is our playing style?
That's interesting. That's interesting. Okay, who's gonna start with this one?
our DNA as we perceive it. It's obviously it's the 4 at the back, it's the 2 in the middle, it's the 3, and it's the 1. That's how we've been, right? That's how we've been doing it with Pito. But now Pito then tried to shake things up a little bit when Opa Manisa came in, and he's like, I'm going the Barcelona route, I'm going the 4-3-3, you know. So, and it worked for some time, but it wasn't as prolific as that hour. But understandably so, because remember, you're coming from a transition of having the best team ever in the history of Sundowns. So I'm not even talking about, you know, obviously back in the day, but in the history of modern football, Sundowns, that was the best team ever. So it was kind of tricky. So the 4-3-3 is what I think. I personally think is what we would go ahead with in terms of when you look at the number of signings, the number of midfielders that he's trying to bring in, and what we currently have in the system. And remember, the system.
Wait.
Is the same system.
Okay, I want to cut you off. Okay, I hear you talking about formations now. I'm not sure if how I asked is the right way to ask it, but like, what is our playing style? Like our playing style, irrespective of the formation.
I understand you. When you say playing style, we are not a counter-attacking team. Like we don't sit back and wait to catch teams on the counter. I think personally, we like to play from the back. Building from the back, building from Onyango, Mento, Riva, all those people on the back to KK, through the thirds up until we get to our magicians. I don't know what we call that playing style, but and it's changed since Pito since Pito took over. It's changed from before CBD, and now it's changed. And I think the reason it's changed is because of the Champions League. The Champions League has changed Pito, if I can say that. He doesn't, or it's not the Champions League. It's the personnel he has. Personnel he has. I think during CBD we used to go out and blow teams off the park, no matter who you are. If you are Chiefs or Mpumalanga Black Aces, when you get to the park, our aim is to blow you apart in the first 20-25 minutes. Now it's more pragmatic. Now you take a 1-0, 2-0 up against Stellenbosch. Back in the day CBD, you'll never do that. Okay, maybe I'm going off track a bit, but our playing style is similar to that of. Is there a team in the world that I can compare us to?
In terms of playing style? It's tough. Like, because I remember there was a time where I think it was Trumpo. I forgot who it was, but they did an interview and said, right now we are looking at the way Napoli is playing. We're playing that way. And then there was a time when they said we were looking at was it RB Leipzig? Was it Leipzig? Yes. Yeah. And in Leipzig, it was the time when Leipzig were playing 4-2-2-2, and then you could say we were playing 4-2-2-2.
True. Ironically, Pluto, you know, as much as I agree with you that we're not a counter-attacking football playing team, if you notice that our counter-attacking has actually improved better than it used to be ever in the history of Pito Msimane. Like if you check the goal against Leopards, I don't know if you remember where Trompo won the ball. He tackled, he won the ball, and then immediately he did that. So yes, I agree with you that we don't counter attack, but he's improved on that because, like I was saying the last time, he's realized that, you know, sometimes because teams tend to sit at the back and they will just watch us play, like how Highlands Park did when we had to score that 90th, 92nd, 3rd minute goal. They will just chill and they're happy with it. And the fact it's an achievement to get a draw against Sundowns, but our counter-attacking football has really, really improved. It's the one aspect that I think he's notched it up a bit. The rest has either maintained consistent or it's dipped a bit. So I don't know if you agree with me on that.
And can I go against? And I think it's he's evolving with world football, like the new trends in world football. We can't stick to one style or no. Naratala, we play from the back, we do this, we play with wingers, we cross the ball. World football changes every 3 months. There's a new kind of using the now when the watches was playing. There's a new trend, a 23-5-2 or a 24-3-3. Like you can't say this is how we play and we're not going to change. World football doesn't allow that, unfortunately.
Listening to you guys, you know what I'm thinking now. When I asked what is our playing style, I think our playing style, I would like to think, like, this is my opinion. I'm not saying it's the gospel to anyone watching this now. Yes, I think now we are playing piano without the shoe shine. Like, everyone is just dancing. Like, we are playing our midfield is playing the piano, our front four is dancing. Like, but the shoe shine is not there. Like, I want the Vula Vala Sundowns. I want
the big heel.
Necessary. I don't know if you guys would agree with me, because to be honest, like, our, you know, when Kogeto was talking about like our counter attack. Remember our counter attack SBD with Mbekile sitting at the top, like when we've considered
crazy.
Our counter attack is crazy. Again, like our counter attack used to be crazy. But
Mbekile, Keegan, and Kama.
Yes. So now I think our playing style is not set as maybe like you would say. These guys play tiki-taka. These guys they are a counter-attacking team. When we want to, we play position-based football. Or I think we just adjust to our opponents. Or we also adjust to what the game demands from us.
In my opinion, I know that when it comes to Sundowns style of play, we will disagree. Make no mistake, we will disagree. Even amongst ourselves as Sundowns fans, we will disagree. But in my opinion, this has been the time whereby Coach Pito have tried, and he's doing his utmost best to resurrect a modernized Susan and Piano. Mm-hmm. I'll tell you what. Susan and Piano is spine based. You must have a strong spine. Top centre backs, top central midfielders, a top number 10 and a top number 9. And you must have a ball playing goalkeeper. And if you pay attention to what Coach Pito always say, he always emphasizes about the centre backs who can play, because Shushan and Piano is based on those type of players. You need a spine that is able to play, that is ball playing, that does not crack under pressure. Even if a player is pressed by 2 or 3 players, a player must not panic. He must know that if he's pressed, if you watch Nascimento most of the time, when he's pressed, he always looks back to see if he can't find Onyango. If he can't find Onyango, he looks for Madisha. If he can't find Madisha, he looks for Langa. If he can't find Langa, he looks for Andile. Those are his nearest options. Then Mshishi or a Gaston, who is far, those are his last options, not his first options. So Shushan and Piano is based on passing the ball to your nearest player. Now, what Coach Pito did was, let's move the ball not slower like we used to do in the 90s. Let's move the ball faster. Now, Shushan and Piano does not rely on wingers. It relies on players who play in the spine. So at Sundowns, you will never find the best winger, because our DNA is not winger based. Like Coach Pito at Super Sports United, he used to rely on wingers. He used to speak about players who when at halftime he wants his wingers to have a white chalk on their boots, because they were standing on the line. He doesn't want them to cut inside. He wants them to stand on the line and wait for the ball, take on the player, play some crosses. Remember when he signed Lungisani Ndlela from Swallows, he said, from Swallows system of play to Super Sports system of play, for Lungisani Ndlela is cut and paste. And that's how Lungisani got the nickname Cut and Paste. Because at Super Sports United, he was more focused on playing through wing play. But when he came to Sundowns, he wanted to resurrect the Sundowns style of play while playing the Pito Mosemane way. Remember, in an interview that he did with Kickoff, he said he wants to play the Dutch way. What is the Dutch way?
Total football.
The Dutch way is not wing based.
Total
football. It's not wing based. Exactly. So Pito Mosemane is pushing himself in this this is a genius way of thinking, of saying, okay, let me combine Sundowns' traditional style of play, let me combine with modern trends, let's see what I can get out of the players that I need. So, in my opinion, Sundowns still play the same way they used to play in the past, but in a modern way. You cannot now have a right back who can delay with the ball, sit on the ball like Zain Musa, play a little bit of showboating like Sam Iwi Kambule. No, we cannot do that in this present time. So what we are doing now is we get the ball, we move it as quick as possible. If we are pressed, we go back. We slow the tempo, we control the tempo. If the opponent is asleep, we move the ball quicker. We get into their danger zone, and we find as many goals as we possibly can. So, in my opinion, our DNA is spine oriented, no longer not wing play, and it has never been wing play. But it's all about moving the ball as quick as possible, using proper channels and using the right players and finding the right player at the right time. Yeah. That is my opinion.
Okay, so yeah, I think we've all said more or less the same thing about style of play, but in different ways. And I like that Kentani raised the style of play, because style of play also shows you the profile of player that you want when you're profiling the type of the transfer market.
It dictates to you actually.
Yes, and I like that.
So, and I hear Pro raised a very important issue when he was talking about the spine and the number 10, Aaron. So I'm just putting the question out to everybody. Is it safe to say a striker, like your number 9, will not a false 9, just a 9, will never flourish at Sundowns?
I think they can.
I think they can.
Castro.
I won't use the word never.
Okay, maybe never maybe is a bit harsh, but the reason I'm asking this, and I'll put it out there, is because we still have Mabrokana who might be coming back.
Right. So remember the Telkom knockouts, the Telkom knockout final.
That guy
needed a 9, a guy who's gonna stand there and win all those aerial balls. And Coach Piso has been talking about a 9, remember, for Champions League matches. And he even said if Afonso didn't get injured, we were gonna push a lot of teams, and we were gonna be still in the competition.
Yes.
And in my opinion, I think our system still need a 9. Our system still need the right players. Hey, now you just thrown the Mabrokana name.
That one is the cow.
No.
Be direct.
No, you can't say that.
Kenzani, quit the time and talk, my friend.
No, that one is the cow. It's a cow. I love him. I love the guy. Mara, I get part of it.
The reason, another reason I'm asking this is because let's look at the era, Coach Beats, and let's look at the 9s that we've had. Like, not most of them have prospered. Like, Castro was a rare breed. I'm looking at Bongani Ntuli. I'm looking at Bongi Ntuli. Yeah, I'm looking at Elazar. He was there. And I'm looking at Mabrokana. No, those are your strikers. I get strikers. They're not like your
Malaji. Ramagalela.
So what you see? That's where my question is coming from. Maybe the problem is not the strikers. Maybe the problem is they just don't fit into that thing, and maybe the system doesn't allow.
Okay, so you know what I'm thinking. Castro was very successful under Coach Pito. Like, if the system allowed him, Castro was our best 9 in Pito's era. But also, when we won the league in the 2013-14 season, Malajile was a beast that season. Remember how many assists he had?
Yes.
And Nakora, and with Elazar and with Bongintuli, Coach Pito was still looking like he was still searching for himself. He hadn't found himself the way he has found himself now. I think with those guys were just at the right time at the right place at the wrong time. LSR like wabona man mona ne sa ipatla ke nakola where we signed like 9 players or some is 9 players na sa ipatla coach, and then also with Ramagalela lena Shem he agis kirking like maybe it was a matter of being at the right place at the wrong time, but Castro proved that Coach Pito can play with a 9, and also the way we needed Mauricio when we played Al Ahly away and at home, and then how Mauricio played Telkom knockout final, it showed you that a 9 works in our system, because CBD, that system of CBD was no one's for a 9. Castro was there.
If a 9 can fit, but we just and as we're having this conversation, unfortunately, in our media, it's not reported enough, like how sports science and whatever and data analysis is incorporated in sports. So us as fans can only use off of stuff we read in Europe. In terms of like putting it in perspective with our players. But I think as the question you're asking, I think a 9 can fit, but we just need to find a 9 that fits our system, and maybe metrics and stuff could help that. Using metrics could help that help us find a proper 9 that we need for our system. But another question that I wanted to tap into, guys, was we seem to do our best piece of business overseas, like in terms of we hit the jackpot more overseas than back at home. Do you think also the foreign quota plays a role in team overcharging Sundowns to get their players?
Yes, it does. It does. Because obviously teams know that Sundowns have already 6 foreign players and they're looking for a striker. They won't go overseas for a striker. Let's charge them 15 million to give me 2. Like, let's see if they'll pay that. They're desperate. Everyone knows Sundowns wants a 9 and a left back. Everyone knows that. So wherever we go, PSL, they are going to overcharge us. And the I think the reason you brought up this topic was for us to talk about, is it time for us to change our policy now? Don't go for the big stars anymore. Like, go for in that article that you were reading, how Liverpool do their business. It's a brilliant article written by New York Times. Liverpool again. I'm sorry, guys, for using Liverpool. I'm not Eurocentric. Liverpool primarily look for players that are between the ages of 19 and 24. That's it's he's young enough for you to groom him and resell value, and then he's just about, if he's 24, about to get to their peak. So if it's a start base, like, okay, let's look from now on, because now teams are overcharging us. They're looking for a ridiculous amount of money. Let's plan for like next 3 years. For the next 3 years, let's go for players that, unless they are very, very, very special, then we make an exception. We spend 20 million on you, 20 million. But let's look at how we can get players between the ages of 19 and 20. That's my personal opinion, between 19 and 20, and it works, guys. It works. Like, Liverpool went from being 7th, 6th until Jurgen Klopp came, and he came with the data guys, and they looked at it differently. Liverpool couldn't match Man City for players, couldn't match PSG, couldn't match Chelsea. So what they did is they used this data analytics things to get players that will suit their system. Now they go to Lyon or to Lille and get a 20-year-old. A 20-year-old who's played 25 games, because their guys have studied their player and they know what they can bring to the team. So let's move away from, in my opinion, from buying your superstars, unless you're very special, unless you're Capabilian.
Yeah, Yeah. I think you raised some very good points there in saying like profiling players, like you
know, the Kapinga I'm signing. Yes, I'm not excited by it. Yes, but when I sit back and think about it properly, I think he's at the right age. He's 24, ne?
He just turned 25 yesterday.
25.
Yes, I think that's the type of player we should look at from now on. And I'm not sure. Maybe
and couple with that, we got him for free because his contract has expired.
That's exactly where I'm going. Like the profile player, we should the age. Let's build for the future. Let's not build for next year and 2 years. Let's build for 4 years.
You're raising a very issue, Iloring. One player, if I'm thinking about like what we've signed now, the one player that fits that profile of Lelanga, we need to look at the age and not Grant. So I'm looking, we have a 21-year-old Grant. Like, there isn't that much hype around him, but he works, he grovels. Mm-hmm. Stats are there, numbers are there, And I remember the one time true story. And I remember the one time where Kensani was talking about different types of central midfielders. Like, not every midfielder is a central defensive midfielder, but you remember that topic that yes. And Grant is a central midfielder. Like, he's a complete central midfielder. He gives you options. He gives you,
type of player.
He gives you that. So the issue that you're raising made me think about him. As soon as you mentioned the age, as soon as you mentioned the criteria, it made me think about that guy because. So I'm thinking we're actually starting to do that now. If you look at it, if you can comfortably sign a 21-year-old, there's no hype. We're starting. Exactly. So whoever was responsible there and whoever's is heading that direction, I'm saying big ups, and I'm saying I'm comfortable knowing that that's the route that we're taking now. So and I'm chilled.
So no, I think it was Kansani and Pro who did that thing. Yeah. The next two, like heir to the throne, like it was Grant and Kekan, it was Mento, Madi. Yes, it was, and you can see, like Kokoto said, you can see that pathway in Riepang, and I think it might take a year of us not winning anything, and fans will need to be patient and realize what's actually happening behind the scenes.
But guys,
also,
sorry to disturb, but do you guys actually realize that this thing, Lubla has been Peter has been doing that. Keegan Dolly.
I was about to say sorry.
How old was Keegan Dolly when we signed him? How old was Kamabilat when we signed him? And there were rough diamonds. How old was Bongani Zungu when we signed him? He was 20. Okay, Madisha was promoted. How old was Mutalibuso when we signed him? 24, 25. Mabuwe, Mabuwe, 23. Malajile, how old was he when we signed him from Marisbeck? How old was a lot of these guys?
Tapelo was 23, yeah.
Tapelo was 23. I think this system has always been there, but the thing is, I don't know. Maybe it's required when you come to Sundowns in 2 years' time, you'll be a superstar. I don't know.
I think, as I was saying, like there's very little. I don't know if it's the media or the clubs themselves. There's very little of it. It's the media. There's very little of this reported in our media, or they'll just report headlines, what they recorded at the press conference, clickbait. They don't educate us. They don't tell us, hey, yo, check this out at this club. This is what's going on. This is the pattern. We're not being told that. All we're being told is Peter Msimani says ABC is benefiting. That's what we're being told, and that's what we're reading in our media, which is the source of information for us fans, basically. Pro, you're about to say?
No, I agree with you. And one of the biggest challenge that I have was the signing of George Maluleke. Here you are. I mean, we are complimenting the team that it's signing the right age: 21, 20, 23, 25. Here we are signing a 31-year-old. Now, I understand and I value the quality of George. Now, George, is he a long-term solution or a short-term solution? Now, if he is a short-term solution, what's the problem? Those are the kind of things that I, as an ordinary fan, would like to understand. if George is a short-term solution, what is the problem that the coach is trying to fix? I see Grant is a long-term solution. I can see could be a long-term solution. Now, what is coach trying to fix? Josh Maluleke. Perhaps you guys can assist.
That is not broken.
I have no idea.
I think maybe the only thing I can think of as a squad player, I don't think George Maluleke is better than Andile Jali. I don't think he's better than Shompokekan. Maybe he's accepted to be a squad role fringe player at Sundowns and get himself while doing that get himself a decent salary still. That's the only thing I can think of.
Shompokekan, Andile Jali, Diani Mabunda, Semisiabi, Rivaldo Gutierrez, if you will. That's enough central midfielders in my opinion.
That's enough.
Actually,
that's enough central midfielders in my humble opinion. So, I have no idea why Sundowns went on and signed George Maluleke. I have absolutely no idea. I can't answer you, bro. Personally, I can't answer you.
My thing is it's well documented that Coach Pito is an admirer of George Maluleke. And I think the fact that he's free now, and maybe the reason that Neo just mentioned, that maybe he's accepted to be a squad player, maybe those are, I don't know, like maybe Coach Pizzo thought it would strengthen the team to have George if maybe he agreed to be a squad player, because if George Maluleke plays ahead of Andile Jali or Sompokekana, I'm telling you right now, I would have a problem with that.
While we're talking about George Maluleke, I was going to go back a little bit and ask if the other George was signed by the coach. Because you still have a Mohomi, whom I think
we forgot about him.
His name.
I forgot about
him. We forgot about him.
You see how bad it is. Now here we have a player from Chiefs. For me, the signing of George Maluleke is more of a revenge signing more than anything. I don't think. I mean, I'm happy to be wrong, but I don't believe that it's the coach signing. Maybe it is signing, but I don't think it is. Coach cannot sign a 31-year-old when he just signed a 20-year-old Grand Magaman. He's got a Rivaldo Kusia. He's got a Sami Siebi. He's got a Harold. He's got a Mabue that he can convert and play as an 8. So it doesn't make sense to me. But maybe one day he will explain why he signed George, if he did sign George.
And what you're saying is interesting now when you think about Coach Pito spoke about Semisiabi. Coach Pito keeps speaking about Grand Mangaman, even though he's still registered as an Ajax player right now. But when he's asked about George, he doesn't even want to touch it.
He says Sundowns.
Interesting.
His favorite thing. Sundowns.
And another
thing,
that's
very interesting, bro. I never thought of it.
And bro, that is very interesting, because another thing is that you'll never hear Coach Pito talk about Nico Mobi. So that's also an interesting point.
True story.
Yes, true.
He talked about Harold, who has barely touched the ball this season. He talked about him. He talked about Lukubeni, but he's never touched on Nico Mobi. And he doesn't say what Nico Mobi is here for. He told you what Smith is here for. He told you what Grant is going to bring. He told you about all these other players. But Nico Mobi, George Maluleke, he says nothing about it.
And to add something,
have you ever heard our coach saying anything about Sekoto while he was at Sundowns?
No. And let me add on that, bro. Sorry, let me add on that, bro. Because if you remember, like, Pito has been with the team long enough to know he's a person of subliminals. Like how we can actually pick up. He never picks about a certain player, right? If you guys remember the time where we were signing the other George, the time we were signing Scotland and them, when he was asked about those players, the first thing that he said was that, why don't we bring all the people from Mamelodi and all the professional people from Mamelodi and they can come and play? Yeah, he said that. So. You're actually raising a very valid point there, because
he is.
I also don't think George is Peter signing.
And Kensan, to add or what you're saying, he does speak about, like, I remember in his last interview, Abulaga comes in, ask Kam.
Yeah.
Ask Kam.
Yeah.
he didn't say ask Sundowns or no, ask Chiefs. Ask Kam.
Yeah. So now, guys, so in the interest of moving the topic forward, Neo, I wanted to out of everything that we've highlighted now, in terms of what Klutlo highlighted, the Liverpool signings, that they signed players that are in between 19 and 24. And then when we look back, and like how Coach Pizzo spoke about them, or like what they're bringing, and we look at his age. We look at age Sabo Grand Mangaman. We look at like Bokama. We look at Bo Keegan. We look at all these players, Boma Bowe, and then you kind of see that, I don't know. Does it answer your question, in terms of like having a transfer policy? Do you really think, Hore, we must change that policy? Like in terms of, because
No. I think. Yeah. I think there is a policy in place that's profiling of a younger player that can improve, and then that will help us in be a first 11 player in 2-3 years time. I think we're doing that, but I think what I want us to shy away from completely, unless it's absolutely necessary, is signing the big star player for millions and millions of rands.
I get you. Unless that big star is going to make an immediate impact, like a Virgil van Dijk who and then Alisson Becker, who are for crazy money, and then they come in and then they do what they did.
They take your club from here to here.
To that, yes. Unless they do that. So now I want to ask the gentleman, Nahore, is that still a viable policy to do that? Mara, like, must we? You know how now it was a personal thing for me to say, you know what, I have to scrutinize the Brokey deal, because the rumored transfer money that we spent on him and the return on investment, they are not aligned. They are so far apart, because Brokey had scored double digits in the CAF Confederations Cup, and Coach Pito always says, we have players who win the league here. Like, players find us winning the league. We don't need players to help us win the league. We want players to help us win the Champions League. And I also feel we also need players to help us win the Telkom Knockout and the Nedbank Cup, because we don't win them as often as we should, in terms of maybe saying we are dominating the league. Because Hoga level, like, to be honest, like in terms of like the age and the strategy of signing, and I think that one is perfect, because I remember that interview Coach Pizzo when he started Sundowns, he did say it would like Abo Rashid Sumaila. They are young but powerful in their own right, in their own countries. When we go to Ghana, the man is like Michael Jackson, Dove Wome. He was, I think, 23 at the time. He said, a powerful young man who's in the national team playing with Bo Adebayo, Abala, like all those players, like what they're doing in terms of their own. Like who was the Zambian that we had signed then?
Wasn't
not Hishani Himola. No, man. The other one, the one that we sent on loan, I think we sent him on loan to...
Lamek Banda.
No, not Lamek Banda. Lamek Banda. No, Lamek Banda is Zambian. There was he was Zambian. The other one, I think there was one... Oh, the other one was Zimbabwe and Mutizo that we sent on loan to Ntwela, to Tax. But what he was saying back then, it was like, these players are playing... Yes, they are playing well for their national teams. They're playing well for their junior national teams. Okay, that, yes, we get it. But now, gents, the question I'm posing is, do we keep to, and I think this now goes to what you were saying, do we keep this policy of saying we break the bank for Ekemit Erasmus? He needs to walk into the front four, deliver now. But because Bob Brokey didn't do that, okay, you don't know what happened with that deal, because it seems the rumor is that it was a top deal for Coach Rulani, even though Coach Rulani contract. You know what I mean? But do we still do that? I think that transfer policy works. The players that look like they are about to be something, they are rough diamonds, and Coach Pizzo takes them, molds them, and then
polish.
And then they become superstars. That one works for me. I think that we can keep. But now that one,
that's what I was.
Yes, of trying to break the bank for a Mudiva.
I think we should completely get rid of that one of trying to break a bank for. Or I think the only option of signing a player like Emudiva that's being overvalued by his club is if he's in his last year of his contract, that his club is forced to sell or is desperate to sell, and then we can negotiate at a lower price. But otherwise, I think we should keep to that of signing younger players with potential of fitting into our style of play, and then which Coach Peter and his technical team can polish to become better players.
Just to take off from what Noah said, it still remains a mystery to me how a player like Bongintuli failed at Sundowns, if he did fail. Because this particular point right now, it drives us back to what Koketso has asked before. Does our system really allow a proper nine to flourish at Sundowns? But for me, Coach Pizzo, yes, he's very good at working with unknown players, rough diamond. Yeah, it takes us back to what Koketso has said. But for me, I don't understand really how a player like Bongintuli failed at Sundowns, because in my opinion, Bongintuli fits the profile of Sundowns. He's a mobile striker, he's a mobile number 9. Far better than Maprokana, far better than what Maprokana would have done at Sundowns. But I'm not saying we should throw Maprokana into the bin, but in my opinion, I think Bongintuli was going to give us something.
Bin Maprokana, guys. Let's be honest.
And you must also remember that Bongintuli came from Arrows as a top scorer. He came to us, he went to Platinum. Okay, Arrows were relegated. He came to us, then he went to Platinum Stars. He became a top scorer. Platinum Stars were eventually relegated. And then he's at Amazulu right now. He's a top goal scorer, and Amazulu are second from last. Who's the top goal scorer there? It's Bongintuli. So it shows that.
And apparently he scored 86. I saw somewhere it says he scored 86% of Amazulu's goals this season.
Yeah.
The league goals.
12 out of 14. 12 out of 14 goals. Bongintuli has scored them. Now how can such a player fail at Sundowns when there's Coach Mangoba who speaks his language? Perhaps it could be a language issue. He speaks his language. Coach Mangoba and young boys. I mean, Coach Mangoba is an educator. He knows how to speak to young boys. So you can't tell me that Bongintuli cannot understand tactics, cannot understand movement. He cannot understand what Coach Pizzo demands from him when there's Coach Mangoba next to him. We've got the best fitness team. You can't tell me that Bongintuli was unfit.
I think those type of players thrive playing in a system, playing more of like transition football. I think at Sundowns
I was about to say
where you have to play those triangles and manipulate. You know, I once had a long, like, it was just like a football discussion with Kampo Kekana, and you know, he said something to me that I never thought I would hear. He said, as far as like the strikers that he's played with, like he's never seen a better finisher than Mashego, and he's never seen a player who plays in the pockets the way Jabu Mangele used to. He said he's the best player in terms of like playing in the pockets. He said this is the best striker that he has seen play that type of game. So with Abu Ramagalela, I think he struggled there.
It goes back to style of play. Does the Sundowns style of play fit a 9 like Bongintuli?
I think so.
Does it fit a 9 like Bongintuli? You think so?
I think so. You know, the things that Pro is asking, those are very valid questions. I watched Bongintuli. I won't lie, I don't watch a lot of Amazulu games. I'll only watch them when they're playing Pirates, Chiefs, when they're playing us, or maybe if they're playing like a super sport. But the game I saw him play at FNB against Chiefs, what I thought to myself is that this guy would thrive in a Sundowns system. But now, Pro, what I'm asking myself with Bongintuli, sometimes is it a matter of maybe a player having to mature first? Look at Keegan. Keegan was our player, went to Ajax, came back. Look at I don't know whether Kama will come back or not, but with Kama it's a different story. But there are certain players who came out of us and then went somewhere, flourished, and then they came back, and then they were different players. So I wonder now if we might need to swallow our pride, because earlier he's been rumored that maybe Sundowns are chasing after Mongituli, this and that. But I don't know if maybe we have to swallow our pride and maybe say, you know what, boy, you are ripe enough, you've proved yourself, and then we do the dumping of spending money for a player that we already had in our books.
For me, I'll risk it all. I'll swallow my pride, go back to Bongintuli and say, boy, let's push it again. Let's see what the next 4 years can do for us. Let's see what you can do in the next 4 years for us. Because really, Ubongintuli is like a hand that can fit perfectly in the glove. Ubongintuli can give us 10 goals. I mean, we have everything in terms of creativity. We just need a player that's gonna put the ball at the back of the net. That's it.
Is it the right time though, because we have Afonso now, or is it a matter of saying we can have two big men existing in the same team?
Now, I'm sure you have watched more live games Afonso than me, and I've watched more live games Ubongintuli than you. And I'll tell you that Ubongintuli for me, he does a lot of work for the team. He closes a lot of spaces. He looks like he's lazy, but I'm telling you, when he picks his body up and he closes spaces and he goes to spaces and he challenges for the balls, he gives you more energy than most number nines will give. But with Afonso, from what I've seen of him live, I was not happy with his reaction when he needs to close the spaces. I think he's that type of striker that waits for the ball and he won't give you much to defending the line.
But to be fair to Afonso, he's never been fit ever since he came to Sundowns. He's never been like 100% fit. Not that he's never been fit, but now remember when coach said like Afonso might actually not play the rest of the season because he's not where he needs to be in terms of like condition wise, like to play the way Mamelodi Sundowns demands you to play.
True. I remember that when coach was saying that. I remember. But I think we need to move on a bit. And I want to introduce our next topic, which is, what do you guys think Sundowns should bring in? So what I had done was I had shown Sundowns' depth in terms of goalkeepers. I think it's 4 goalkeepers, 2 left backs, 4 right backs, 3 right backs, 3 or 4 right backs, and then a lot of players in midfield, and then and a bunch of forwards, a lot of forwards, 3 10s, 3 or 4 10s, and 1 number 9. So, but as that diagram was gonna show, the only positions that we are thin in is left back and number 9.
Naturally, like so, we all know that we're missing those two in those two positions.
So, what do you guys think? What are you guys saying? What should Sundowns do in that regard? Let's start with Cox. Or okay, you already.
Yeah, and we should we really our thoughts based on what we just said about the recruitment, about leaving the big names, the big names, or can we include them?
It's up to you. We've given the debate was there, and then it's up to you whether you go for the younger or the superstar.
Okay, left back. If SuperSport don't budge on the price, let's go get a younger left back. I'm sure Langerman's frustrating, but I'm sure Langerman can play another year or 2. So left back, I'm not that desperate for a left back, but I'm desperate for a striker.
I am.
So I would say
left back. I am.
I say. If the SuperSport don't lower the ridiculous asking price, let's do some proper scouting. Let's find a left back that will suit how I want to play younger left back in the NFD, and I'm not saying he's going to play immediately, but let's find a left back somewhere, because obviously so our neighbors are. Yeah, a striker I would break the bank for.
Actually, from my side, it's more the opposite of what Claude was saying. So I would break the bank for a left back right now. And because the thing is, I'm coming at this point because I know that we already have a striker that has shown so much potential. Like Afonso, you can see, man, like that guy knows where the poles are. You don't have to tell him the dimensions of the poles. He knows. He's sorted. So we can work on that. So it's just been a matter of luck, and it's been a matter of him getting injured and all that. So I think we sorted there. And we can also tweak our play so that we don't need a 9. We can always use a false 9. But at left back, that's where we've been lacking the most. You saw what happened against when we were playing in actually the last Champions League game where Langerman had to come in the second half and he kept on falling everywhere. So it's a very position. It's a position that we're very thin at. Like Leke, we thought he was going to change things, but it seems like there's that hurdle, man. Like he just can't get over that hurdle. Maybe next season he'll be a different player, but I think we should go for Ope. If we're going to sign now and we're saying, okay, after the signature, we're no longer going to go for that whole breaking the bank. We're just going to have the model and just sign youngsters and bring a youngster and bring a solid one, because we need the Champions League. That's the problem.
If in those two positions was. Yeah.
With me, like I said last time, there's a left back in Cape Town. Playing for Cape Town City. The challenge is he's a foreign born.
Yeah.
So he might affect our foreign quota. I'm not sure at the moment, but there's a left back in Cape Town. If we can't get that left back that is in Cape Town, I think we need to visit Stan Matthews and break the bank for Modiba. Number 9, why can't we look at what we have at our disposal, our MDC? Or there is Neon Puti there is Tabang Sibanyoni. Let's give those boys a chance.
Habib Kuyombo.
Let's give. I beg your pardon?
Habib Kuyombo.
Oh, Habib. If Habib will be fit, and I've done a lot of research on Habib as well. Guys from East Africa, they cannot stop talking about him.
His strike rate is ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah. If Habib can fix his knee, and if Habib will be ready by the time we start the next season, then there's no stress, there's no worry. We won't even talk about Mabrokana, Bongintudi, or any other player. If that boy can be fit, then we are covered. Left back, that's the only issue for now. We go to Cape Town if the foreign quota allows. If it doesn't allow, let's visit Prasten again.
I think, and I think Edmilson Dove came here in 2016. So I don't know if you can wait another season, because in another season he will be he will be a citizen. And another thing is that, wait, you guys, like, why don't you want to give Pagamani a chance as a 9?
I don't think he's a 9. I think. Do you think he's a 9? Do you think he can make it as a 9?
Yes, of course he can.
He's not a nice 9, but he can definitely make it as a 9. Yeah. I think he's that 9.
If Mabue can make it as a 9, he can make it as a 9 as well.
I'm not sure.
But the thing about Pagamani, he has everything at his disposal to be the best 9. I really thought Pagamani was gonna close the gap that was left by Pacey. Yeah, but he's closing the gap that was left by Javupul and Bramfontein.
But speaking of Paga, but I'm saying let's not write him off as a footballer. Maybe
that's what I'm saying as well.
Yeah, but I'm saying, but maybe not as a 10, but as an inside, not as a 9, but as an inside forward.
Yeah, but the thing is, if you're not gonna play as a 9 when you're Paga, are you gonna? Are you going to compete with Tempazwane, Gaston Zerino, Mkulise? Are you going to do that? Another thing, there's Makalo. I would play Makalo as a 9 as well.
As a 9. In that diagram, man, it was going to show. Like I had written everybody else as forwards.
Yeah.
Because they can play in any part of of the front four.
This thing.
But
this thing.
We'll wrap up, boys. Don't worry. We'll wrap up.
Yeah.
They can play in any part of the front four, but a specific 9
that
Peter's always been crying for. I'd left it alone. Yeah,
I think Keleto will be a net eater. Keleto up top, I think he'll be a net eater. That boy.
Clean.
You know what I wanted to ask you, Pro? I wanted to eat him up. Yeah, you're right. But Kama was thriving. Pesi was thriving. Pro, I wanted to ask you. You know when Neo last week mentioned Mabiliso, now I think we've had the conversation about Mabiliso before, right? In terms of plus like Asia. Pro, I think you would know more about Mabiliso than I do. Do you think that boy would make it at Sundowns as a left back?
He would make it, but not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. No.
No. Okay. Yeah.
I need to make it, but not yet.
Oh, okay.
We're gonna frustrate him if you sign him now.
In terms of like playing time.
Yeah, he's a very, very, very good left back. He's a very good boy. He can clock time. He can go forward. He can come back. He can defend. He's still erratic.
I remember a game.
A little bit of more coaching. He still needs. He gets more exposed, especially when he comes against quality players. Yes, you can hide when he's playing against less quality players and all those kind of things. But when he gets quality players, quality opponents, that's when you see that he's still, he's still west behind his ears. But he's 2-3 years time, he'll be fine.
Oh, okay, I get you. And another thing that I wanted to mention, it's raised a good point that I wanted to speak to. Oh, I think it was regarding Lyle Lake. You know, Lyle Lake, I don't think Lyle was signed to be the next one up after Langaman. I think Lyle Lake came in to play. I think Lyle Lake came to close that gap that we had, like in terms of like having that type of player, like who's the guy who went to Pirates? The Mbekile. Yes, with Mbekile, it's like Mbekile was not that Sundowns to be a right back or compete with all the right backs. I think that's the same thing with Lyle. Also, another thing I wanted to ask. Yes, we want to break the bank for a player who will make a difference. Do you think, even Khafar like has raised this week, do you guys think Moleboge Modise is ready?
I was about to go into that, and I was looking at interesting stuff comparing him and Mabiliso. Actually, at the World Cup, coach Teboho Moloi opted to start with Moleboge Modise more than Mabiliso, which is interesting. Tabusuno, sorry. Yes. Tabusuno, Coach Tabusuno. He decided to start with Moleboge Modise. I think even at the AFCON, at the under-20 AFCON, where we qualified to the World Cup, Modise started more matches than Mabiliso. Now, but because Mabiliso was at a smaller team, if you can call it that, he has established himself already in the PSL. He has experience. He has PSL experience. This is his second season already, I think, as a starter for Amazon. I don't know. As a starter. As a starter. Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, third season as a starter.
Been around, yeah.
And this is a 21-year-old who has 3 seasons as a starter in the PSL teams. So sometimes explaining these things on Twitter are very hard, but
no, man.
I was hearing what Khafar was saying.
Twitter is not a place for that.
Twitter is not a place for serious football discussions, guys.
Yeah, I mean, Lutendo Korombi has an opinion about hip hop on Twitter. I mean, really.
So I think we've all mentioned. I think everybody has gotten a chance to mention. I think in terms of a left back and a striker, Pro said.
Except for me.
Oh, except for you. So yeah, the last one. Let's go.
You know, it's not easy to see because I'm always talking. Yeah, but in all honesty, I think the one position that is as a matter of agency to break the bank for is to get a 9, because the thing about a 9 is that we don't really have a goal scorer. We need someone who can at least like guarantee us double digits league goals only, just league goals at least guarantee us 10 goals in the league. And I think Kemet is that type of player, because if I look at all the number 9s that we can get, Kemet is the one person like who really fits the profile of Sundowns in terms of like playing style, age-wise, and the money that we're gonna spend. If I'm a director of football, like I think he would be one I would miss. But as a Sundowns supporter who wants to continue winning the league, I want to win cups. Kemet has the perfect profile, and he has the pedigree. Kemet has played in the Confederations Cup with Pirates, and at one time Esperance was looking to sign him. Al Ahly were looking to sign him. He doesn't bring that thing where you're like, he's too small for Champions League. No, he was scoring goals for Pirates. So I think Kemet also has that one like good deal left in. I don't know, like maybe he has two years left in him or 3 years left in him, depending on what type of player he is. Because some players, like, remember how Didier Drogba was at 31, at 32. Some strikers still know.
And also give Kennedy Mwine for you.
Yes, and you know, when I think about that game, I think of the type of player Kemet is. Kemet can score any type of goal. But what really sold me on Kemet, Neo, remember when we went to watch Pirates in Cape Town City? Remember when we went to watch that game?
Yeah.
Remember how much havoc he was causing in that first half?
Yeah.
If you take Kemet in that game and you put a Mamelodi Sundowns kit on him that day, Kemet is probably one of the most wanted strikers in Africa. Benaga Gaston, like, just based on that performance only. I think he has everything. He has all the experience you need. He might not be like a prolific scorer, or he will give you 15 plus goals every season. But I think Kemet can give us what we need now. And I think it's a risk I'm willing to take. I mean, the last risk we took was Jeremy Brookie, guys. How bad can Kemet be?
True.
Yeah. I think that's the one position I would really break the bank for. And then in terms of left back, guys, and I think let's just make it a double deal to Cape Town City and say, give us Edmilson Dove and Kemet Erasmus. Edmilson Dove, the age is there. He's played AFCON qualifiers for Mozambique. He can do it. In the Champions League. He's proven himself. And also, with Edmilson Dove, you're also getting a left centre back. Should Nascimento be out? Should Dibusa be out? You have so many things from Edmilson.
True.
I think with Obrimudi, I don't know. Yeah?
Yeah, but he said he doesn't like to play left centre back.
Is it?
Yeah, at least with Kemet, he likes to play against Matoho. You know that. I mean, come Chiefs game, there's a goal and assist. At least Kennedy Mwini will have a break.